PEERNOVATION is sweeping the nation. It's all part of what Leo Bottary has committed to in terms of your life's work. This is the second edition, Leo.
It is.
Congratulations. And what many people might not be aware of, exactly what is this concept you've created called PEERNOVATION?
Yeah, PEERNOVATION combines the words peer, right? People of equal standing, and innovation, creativity realized. And it's the idea of what people are capable of who have a common purpose and shared values, and how they can make each other better and actually, create something larger than themselves.
Is it metaphorically the rising tide lifting all boats?
100%.
That's what it is.
It sure is.
But what's the thing that people don't understand? Because I know you work with a lot of Vistage groups, Tech Canada groups, because you've got a deep background in this. What is it that people don't understand, Leo, about the power of peer groups?
I think people don't understand how someone, specifically when you're in a peer group where there's nobody from your particular industry, and they find it hard to imagine that they can get value from someone who doesn't know anything about their business.
Right.
Some will understand that they have shared challenges, for sure. But what they fail to realize oftentimes is there is a practice that may work at a small manufacturing company or at a bank or something like that is unheard of in your industry, commonplace in theirs, and you're like, man, that could work for us.
Right.
And maybe even be a competitive differentiator. So, part of this whole thing really is designed to look at the highest performing peer groups all over the world and how to take what they have done for so long and so brilliantly, and how to take those principles and practices and bring that into teams and organizations. There's a lot of stuff with teams out there, but I think what we're talking about here is something that's proven, number one, and yet something that's new, at least in its application to teams.
Well, and this is the thing. I can't recommend this highly enough. I just watched you present to a CEO forum here in Calgary. What is the core idea that you could explain that separates PEERNOVATION from anything else out there as a concept?
Well, number one, there's a lot of self-determination involved in this. I don't walk into any group or any team and tell them what they should or shouldn't do. What this does, rather than offer a prescription, it provides you models and frameworks to reach your own conclusions about what's best for your team, your group, your organization. And I think that's really why people have, grasped it is the way they have, and why, I think it is something that I think is important, is that you don't just go through it and then that's it, it becomes an event and then you move on. It's easy to be intentional about it going forward, and it's easy to make it part of not just what you do, but who you are over time.
Leo did an exceptional job of cutting through the noise. There's so many models and frameworks out there. What really resonated with me was the human-centered elements of it, and how we're leading people, not leading process or not leading performance. Those other things come from that, and his circle of focus on the good work like the Finnish did around their education system really landed for me. In a world where we're asked for results and accountability all the time, you get those pieces right, the rest of it becomes a lot easier, and that really landed for me.
What's the greatest success story so far with PEERNOVATION? These are Leo's stories from the road, because you travel relentlessly across North America, different parts of the world. What's the best example that you've ever come across of this actually observable in action?
Yeah, so for about 18 months, I ran some internal peer groups for plant managers in 3 different regions across the country in the US. And what ended up happening with those groups was they were these plant managers, they run plants in very remote areas, they weren't connected with one another, it was very difficult, other than ask their boss or something like that, they really had nobody to go to. And so we created these groups for them where they truly got to work together, get to know one another. They are self-facilitated now, but I remember the last meeting that I facilitated with them, and everybody who was in each one of the groups basically said, you were all just names in an email list to me 18 months ago. Now I have brothers and sisters.
Even
and,
though they're from remote locations.
Yes, and it was so extraordinary to have them how generous they were, how much they trusted each other, how much they learned from one another, and the value that they created for one another. Because what they recognized too was this plant manager is real strong background in safety, someone else in more operational stuff, somebody else in finance. So when it came down to putting together strategic plans for the company on an annual basis, they would draw on each other's strengths to help actually create better plans so that the company benefited from it. And they also did a lot of work sharing some of the practices that they employ when it comes to how do we instill the shared values of our company in our organization, in our plants. How do we bring that right to where everybody lives? And it was really fun.
Well, again, PEERNOVATION, it's available all over the world.
Sure.
Wherever
books are sold.
Wherever books are sold. Now, before we wrap this up, we're going to take this in a more personal direction. My friend Leo happens to be a top-notch golfer with a very low handicap. I, on the other hand, am a golfer with a much higher handicap, but we both appreciate the game.
Yes, we do.
I thought it would be wonderful, Leo, for you to illustrate why golf is such a great metaphor for business leadership.
Largely because whatever you did on your last shot doesn't predict what you're going to do in your next one. That would be one of the big ones. And there's lots of metaphors you can actually pull, from golf. But I think it's really important. It keeps us focused. It keeps us intentional. It keeps us never taking things for granted. It's a game that we respect because it is not easy. And business is hard. Life is hard, in a lot of respects.
Golf is hard.
Golf is hard. So I think the more focused and more intentional we can be, we hit a bad shot, what does it do? It sets you up for the next shot, which hopefully will be a moment of greatness for you. So that's all it is.
It's about all these metaphors. We could go forever, solving problems, responding to adversity, the wind, the rain.
Yeah.
Listen, Leo, have admired your work for quite some time. Thank you so much for doing this.
You too, man. Thank
Leo
you.
Bottary, the author of PEERNOVATION, and never forget, you can't create a legend without a story. And like Leo, you might be only one story away from creating your own legend.